evening, everybody. We're going to call the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 26, 2019 to order. If you haven't silenced your cell phone, please do so now. We'll stand for the pledge. Mr. Molnauer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mary Jane.
Randy Novak.
Present.
Joseph Kaur. Dr. Cora. Terry Larson.
Present.
Scott Cooley. Michael Mollenauer.
Present.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Present.
Ron Dispense. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Dr. Cora's on his way, too, so. Approval of the agenda for tonight?
Make the motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Any public comment? Public comment closed. Communications, Mary Jane?
We have none.
Minutes? Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second on the minutes. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report is as follows.
Mike.
Thought I did it. Sorry. I apologize. Kingsbury.
These two guys, the two Mikes turned and looked over there when you said Mike. You said there,
Kingsbury Industrial Park TIF. Your balance is $99,335. That's after your expenses today, if you approve them. I-94-421 TIF. Your balance is $19,833.31 after your expenses today, should you approve them. Your 39 North TIF, if you approve your expenses today, the balance is $52,338.94.
Thank you. You heard the treasurer's report. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Claims and dockets. From the KIDC TIF, the Kingsbury TIF, for Thomas, and I'm gonna read these and we're gonna do them all at once. So this is everything from the Kingsbury TIF. Thomas and Associates for May professional services in the amount of $692.25. MRC Partners June professional services in the amount of $3,000, and Marbeck Hump Road field survey in the amount of $5,314.50 for a total in the KIP TIF claims of $9,006.75.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the claims for the Kingsbury TIF? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. 421 TIF number 1. Thomas and Associates, May professional services $692.25. MCR Partners June 19th. It's a June professional services in the amount of $2,000. Friedman and Associates legal services in the amount of $1,500. Ice Miller Bond Counsel in the amount of $46,991. Intero Group Utility Design Review in the amount of $5,500. RQAW November Engineering Service in the amount of $21,118. RQAW March Engineering Services in the amount of $22,990 for a total of $100,701.16.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the question.
Question, that November 2018, that was what, just delayed or something? That
That was the one that you delayed payment on in November, and
But
they just resubmitted
our
it.
QAW should be, I mean, we should be pretty well squared with them at this point. See,
Go ahead, man.
Mitch is,
We conducted a meeting. It was myself, Matt Reardon, our QAW, Paul Vincent. This was probably 2 months ago, maybe a little bit more. And we basically told them, hey, that's all we want you to do is go after the permits now, that's it. And there's also, you saw Antero Group, that was the QAQC, checking their work essentially. That's all, and everything else was a supplement with our QAW. It said Jay Sullivan had to approve anything. And those are the invoices that we got. I think one was probably after the meeting, or was it March? So I guess it wasn't. So they should be done. As far as we know.
I mean, just everything's on hold, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, everything's on hold, but the engineering is
Done.
100%.
And the bond council, I think we're just paying them up to what they've done so far, because they've been working for quite a while on this.
Yeah, my understanding is they've done a lot of pre-work for the bond, and
So
that's it.
when this picks up, we can just kind of pick that up where it was.
Well, I would assume that they're pretty well done, and I don't know I don't know how big of an offering or bond document or how we're going to work it. So I mean, that's a question for ICE to ask them. I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah, we're
Great.
we're not doing a bond deal yet. So
Great, thank you.
In terms of RQAW, on the invoice for March 31, 2019, they're 89.89% complete. So
How much?
89.89% complete. So there's about 10% left on their contract.
All right. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next item is 39 North, MCR Partners for June professional services in the amount of $1,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Old business, Construction Rail Planning Committee update, MCR Partners.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a meeting of not the construction, the rail committee, and we went over some bids submitted for the connection at CSX, and rail committee's digesting that information. We had a representative from the IEDC at the meeting so we could explain to Mr. Sultanovitz what it is and why we need the $1 million from the state. Was very receptive of that, and he suggested an approach where we I guess show off a little bit more of the efforts that have been put forth to date at Kingsbury, including but not limited to the county's efforts for $6 million, those efforts by Kingsbury Elevator, $7 to $8 million, the efforts done by JBC Rail of $4 to $5 million, and the upcoming efforts that South Shore is doing with the grant they received.
How about what
from the state.
NIPSCO's pledged
Well,
out there
NIPSCO
too?
as well,
Right,
too.
yeah.
That's $6 million in there.
Right.
So, I guess it's easy for me to talk with Matt Sultanovitz because we're friends and we know each other, and he's from here. But the people that are also involved in decision making aren't from here. So when they hear what's Kingsbury Industrial Park, they have a hard time with it. So Matt's agreed to help us frame the discussion with the state to make sure we can move that forward. And what we had agreed on is a 2-month time window. To get the 2 of them discussed, revised, and approved. Concurrent with that effort, JBC Rail is going to continue with their discussions with CSX, and what was discussed today at the Rail Committee was, we're going to have a golden spike moment. They're going to start here, the other guy's going to start there, we're going to meet in the middle. So we're not going to go ahead or get ahead of the train on this one. We're going to wait, and we're going to build it at the same time. And they thought that was a good approach. And so it was a very positive meeting. On the other end, where CN is, we're still, the letter was sent to Kingsbury Elevator requesting that information. That's a heavy lift and a pretty good expense to get accomplished. So Ed's been pretty diligent most of the requests we made, so I would expect to see something from him between now and our next meeting, hopefully. And the one thing we talked about with the state was, this investment in this area, and they said, well, it doesn't have to be one or the other, it can be both. and the rail committee liked that approach.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Next, Next item on the agenda is 421 I-94 TIF project update.
I'm going to defer.
Yeah. Well, as you know, we've been at this battle with TransCanada over the $5.5 million. And in the last email response from them, my goal was to find out the integrity of those pipelines that were put in 1970. They refused to give us that data. The last time those pipelines were tested and looked at was in 2016, and their claim is the 142-inch line can handle what they call Class 3, which means truck traffic over it, and the ones built in 1970 are Class 1 for farming and what have you only. And so again, we pushed, give us the data so we can have our engineers look at it, and maybe there's a way around this. We can bridge over these pipelines and make it safe and a win-win for everybody. They will not give us that information, no matter how hard we've tried. It seemed like the person we're dealing with would rather, he's even suggested our attorney that, you know, boy, this is a pain, this is going to be a lot of paperwork for me. So the attitude has just been super lame on the gentlemen that we've been dealing with. And I'm sure he's got somebody above him who's just like, make this thing go away. We've got other things to worry about. And, you know, I'm explaining to attorney, we're a catalyst to doing something a lot more on the south side of 94 that starts this water and sewer coming across, which would create a lot of activity and tons of stuff's going to go on because of that. So my next step is, of course, to reach out to Visklowski, some of our representatives, say, hey guys, this is what we're trying to do. We seem like we're getting stonewalled by TransCanada. They don't want to help out in any way, shape, or form. And here's where we are. So that's the direction I'm going in with that. Because Loves wants to do something there, but they're over the pipeline. You know, in the site plan, you can see it, you've seen it before. That pipeline comes right across here like this. So their parking lots are, there's no buildings that are infringing on it, it's just a parking lot. So, believe me, we're not giving up in any way, shape, or form. I will not go away. So I'm now going to fight for this, but in parallel, I'm going to take everything that we had going on here on the north side and just move all this up. So if eventually Loves heads down the road and we can't come to some sort of terms with TransCanada, well then we're just going to pop the hotels, we're going to pop up retail, restaurants around this pipeline. We'll cross that pipeline in one spot, and that'll be our only infringement on the pipeline, and the rest will just have to stay where it is, unless I can get some traction. So I'm working in parallel to sort this out, this game plan, move this all forward, as well as continue to fight with TransCanada. So that's where we're at. But I'm not giving up, and I'll be here every single month to give you a report on what's going on with this project. If we get some things under contract with hotels, take the LOIs we had, get them into contract, I'll be back here to present that information to you, and then we'll have to see if the economics make sense for the water and sewer with that. But
sounds good.
I'm pushing hard.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Next item on the agenda is 39 North Water Tower request. Matt Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a presentation at the last meeting from a group from 39 North Conservancy District and the Springfield Township trustee regarding extension of sewer and water to 20 to service one particular area and then to open up wider opportunity for 39 North. Subsequent to that, we shared that information with the water provider. That would be the City of LaPorte Water Department to review those documents. They asked them to really get their feelings on that of not only feasibility but also directives from the city perspective on how it should work. And in our conversations, we talked about long-term utilization of the city as the water source and how they feel about participating financially. And of course, I think it's a pretty similar discussion we've had with Michigan City about them extending water and sewer. Like, well, we kind of would like to own the assets, and we would, in exchange for that, we'd be willing to maintain them. And I haven't got any information directly back from the water department. I'm looking forward to hearing that information, but I wanted to get their take on it because I mean, I've not seen another plan to get water to 39 North with the exception of the water that it currently gets from the city. And, you know, furthermore, as development, you know, we've had 2 or 3 development opportunities there that basically, been shut down. And there's been some trying to engineering your way around the lack of fire suppression is a challenge. And well, that's been in the discussion. When we had a recent transaction that wanted to go there, and I said you'd have to have a dry system. You'd have to have your building connected with a chemical system. We wouldn't allow. It's not enough. And so, this is no different than when we set up the TIF district. It's the same issue. There's water and sewer, and it feeds what it's there now, and it's not at a capacity to grow that interchange. And I think the numbers bear that out, and I think that's what we're looking to have a greater understanding from the city of LaPorte about.
Thank you. New business. Next item, consider selection of a proposed vendor to erect and install the KIP monument sign. KIP TIF funds. County Planner Mitch.
Yeah, I sent you an email a while ago just to give you a small brief history on a project. I received grant money from NDOT. We hired a consultant. They did the engineering, all the soft work, the sign acquisition work for the new signs. There was 5 wayfinding signs and 1 monument sign. It went out to bid March of this year, and the bids came over 300% over engineer's estimate. So I asked for, hey, that's well over the money we have in the grant. Why did it come that high in the first place? And they explained to me everybody was flush with business, and this was only 6 signs. So what they did was they threw a high number out, hope that would stick, and hope that we would hire them to do the work. But I was like, we don't have the money to do that, so what's the next solution? So the next solution was, you could drop the 5 wayfinding signs along 1st to 5th Line Road and just do the big, large monument sign. I'm like, that sounds reasonable. So I took out those 5 signs and just bid out the monument sign. The problem with that was bid out 2 months ago. We only had 1 bidder, and that bidder was not pre-qualified through NDOT, so basically that was out the window, so it was for naught. So now what do I do? So I said, the only thing left to do is possibly use the match money that you gave me for construction and get some local quotes, and that's what I did, and that was in your packet. You should have saw, I think, 3 different quotes, and the lowest was, I think, $22,000. I went in the auditor's office last couple days ago, Monday, and I saw that there's like $24,000 left for that sign. It was the match money you originally gave me. With that money, I could purchase the sign, and we could have them install it. So I don't know, but what I have here is this quote, so I don't think there's anything you could sign. I don't think it's a contract, so I probably have to come back and get a quote. But what I'm looking for, I guess, is we have the money. You already allocated it. I'm basically ending the grant. However, stipulation of the grant is since we okayed the engineering and we signed off on the grant agreement, we're supposed to build something. That's always what that wants to do. So the money's already there, and I was able to get a quote that is under the money you allocated and get it done for under just that 20% local match. So we could use that money.
Still just that 1 monument sign?
It's still just the 1 monument sign. The 1 large one, I could send you pictures. This was a year and a half ago probably, but it was aluminum brush, fairly large, back. It's changeable face. It's pretty nice. it's more of an industrial feel sign. I could send you it if you want. Yeah. The same
the
sign.
North American Sign Company quote for
Yep.
$21,496.91.
Yeah, that was the low bid, I believe.
That was the lowest bid of the 3.
And Landmark was real close, only $600 more. And that was actually the company we were kind of working with in the past. They were pretty responsive. $600, I don't know. They're out of Chesterton. Landmark. North American's out of South Bend.
That's it.
Yeah, so
you're recommending the North American sign?
well, that's the low bid. That's fine. If
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the Landmark quote.
The Landmark.
The $600 more.
No, sorry, the North American signs. There's $21,496.90.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the question. Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passed.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Mitch.
Thanks. I'll get you a more formalized contracts and sign it.
I'll just have, this is a contract. Can he sign this one?
I don't think, well, I guess.
Next item on the agenda is the RDC notice to governing bodies of all taxing units as per IC 36-7-25-8 that have territories within the allocation area of the LaPorte County Rail Development Committee. Is that? Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. This is a report that was required by legislation that was passed in 2018, and it's an informational filing. This is a different filing than is required by the State Board of Accounts relative to redevelopment commissions and/or the responsibilities of the auditor's office or this body. This was a law that was passed that said that the redevelopment commissions shall annually present information for the governing bodies of all the overlapping taxing districts in the jurisdiction with regard to three things: the commission's budget, the long-term plans for allocation areas, and the tax impact on the unit. There's a little bit of information here about the history of the LaPorte. Generally speaking, what I have in here is you, like many others, like the 216 other counties that have TIF districts, follow the rules set forth in the statute and do economic development, finance, and planning projects that are allowed in there. LaPorte County is no different. LaPorte County is a little bit different in that you have three different plan areas, 421 and 94, 39 North plan area, and Kingsbury Industrial Park. You have four different allocation areas, and that's the money trigger. There's two allocation areas in the 421 and 94 area. There's one in each of the others. I turn your attention to the third page, which indicates the amount of budget that was garnered and spent in 2018. It has the cash balance as the beginning of the year, the receipts and disbursements by each one of the line items in the allocation area. We have one bond issue outstanding, and that has to do with the I-94 421 TIF number 2 area, and that's funds that are dedicated for the specific purpose of retiring that debt. And as you can see, you have a principal payment due this year of $231.52. Plans for the allocation area. The long-term plans for the allocation areas are very similar, and they're all directed towards water, sewer, sanitary expansions, and rail expansion, and economic development participation with the private sector. All of those activities are within each one of the plan documents, and the commission acts accordingly and is within those boundaries of those planning documents. And the last item, but not least, there is no tax impact to allocation areas. The overlapping jurisdictions create and keep all of the existing base tax revenue they generate in the districts. At no point in time does any overlapping taxing unit up to and including the county have to go into their bank account and write a check with regard to these development projects. And that's all I have to present. And this is for the file.
So that's item B and C.
Yes.
Pretty much covered everything there.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Other business. Is there any other business? I talked to, and I guess this is a place to talk about it, but I had talked to Matt last week about possibly looking at creating a TIF over off of the 2035 area off of 94 over there for some future expansion over there. Maybe we could do something over there as far as expanding, eventually, get some sewer. I think there's sewer going out there, but I think it's low pressure. There may be some water out there and stuff like that. So
we started digging into that option. Just it's how big, what's available. We got to do more due diligence, work with Mitch and county engineer to figure out what's out there as far as capacity, and then have a discussion with Michigan City. I mean, there's a reason why the commission a few years ago put it at 421 and 94. I mean, it's on the exit. So these are logical locations that make sense. And so we'll look into it and just see. Also to identify who the the landowners out there are, is there big swaths of land that could be grabbed up by the development community? And when I say grabbed, that's kind of a bad word. It can be purchased by the development community for redevelopment activity. And if there's, the bigger the parcels, the easier it is. There's if there's a lot of little parcels, it makes it difficult. Not all three of your other TIF districts have big chunks of property all included in them, and it's not a lot of multiple ownership. So we'll take a look at it and come back next month and give you some statistics and see how you feel about it.
Just something to look at.
Yep.
Is there any other business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.